All right, we did it, everybody. We made it through another episode of Friday Night SmackDown, and oh boy, that was a second hour, huh, Denise?
I feel like so much happened, but at the same time, nothing happened. Does that make any sense at all?
It does. It does. Like I just stopped taking notes. Like after about like at the 40-minute, like the 9:40 mark, I just stopped. I just put my pen down. I'm just like, I can't keep track of everything that's going on. And that was before the second disqualification. And then they added 3 more guys to the match. And then Braun Strowman showed up. So this was, we should have known from the second that AJ Styles opened up the show with Daniel Bryan that things were going to go completely off the rails. They love to do this sometimes right before the Royal Rumble is they just chaos. They just try to sell chaos. Like, we haven't watched 34 Royal Rumble matches before this to know that it's absolute chaos in the Royal Rumble, but it is what it is. I thought the first hour moved very fine. And then this second hour started off good, went completely off the rails, but we will have plenty of time to get into that. Welcome into Smack Talk, everybody. We appreciate the 71 people who are watching already. Appreciate all the comments rolling in. Janelle and GN and Ozzy and Joseph and Philip and Zane and Danny. We will get to as many of your comments as we can. We're going to try to go through all of SmackDown tonight to get a lot to unpack there. Talk a little bit about the Royal Rumble as well. We'd love for you guys to get your picks in as well. And did
I creep you out, Rick?
Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute.
That was me.
I didn't even know you had control of that.
I didn't know. Well, actually, I had control of it because I forgot to log out this morning from the prediction show. And I was like, oh man, I'm in the different view of StreamYard. So I wanted to creep you out because you didn't know. And I was like, I'm going to wait for a moment when Rick least expected, and I'm just going to spook him.
I was like, who hacked my machine? Like, what is going on?
I hacked you, Rick. I hacked Sportskeeda.
Oh my gosh, you're the new Mustafa Ali. We have the new Smack Talk hacker here, and it's Denise Salcedo breaking it. So good. You know what? That means you can help me monitor the comments here tonight.
Oh, you're not going to want that, Rick. I'm going to put the least favorable comments up.
All right, we'll go ahead and get the Lars Sullivan comments out of the way, and we'll just get that out of everything going, whatever this week. But feel free to get your comments in. We will take as many of them as we can, talk anything about SmackDown. All right, Mike. Okay, this is the one and only Lars Sullivan I'm putting down, and here's my answer to that. I don't care where Lars Sullivan is right now, to be completely honest with you. So, yeah, he might show back up at the Royal Rumble, but hopefully it's a quick elimination. And, oh, my gosh, I'm having problems. You know that little thing that pops up in the bottom right hand of your corner when, like, you get a message? Like, that kept popping up for a second, and I couldn't take Lars Sullivan's there off of the screen, and then I accidentally opened up Facebook, and everything's... There you go, Zane. Yeah.
You're not going to like, you're not going to like me having control of this comment section.
Just like SmackDown, this episode is already completely off the rails. and here, I tried to make everything nice tonight. I'm wearing my Daniel Bryan blazer. All right. I tried to look good for everybody. I'm trying to get this thing going off right, but we'll take as many comments as we can. Denise, we are not alone today, by the way. We do have a special guest. We'll go ahead and bring him in now and get his thoughts on things. It was Michael Morales Torres from Luca Libre Online. Michael, how are we doing, sir?
Everything good here in Puerto Rico. Rick, Denise, thank you for having me here. It is a pleasure for me. And yeah, weird SmackDown, as you were saying before. What the hell happened in the last 40 minutes? I still don't know, but that was the go-home show, man.
It is what it is, right?
Such is life.
Yeah, what did we say last week? Like that closing segment with Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens, that felt like the perfect segment to send it off to the Royal Rumble, right? Like we felt like they did that a week too early, and we were wondering how they were going to follow it up. Then they followed it up with the Teddy Long special tonight. That's what they decided to do. They started off with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, and everybody's going, oh, okay, sure, the quarterly brand invitational is back. Whatever, it's fine. We're getting Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. And then all hell breaks loose. We end up with a 6-person tag and then a 5-on-4-person tag. And then Sheamus shows up out of nowhere. And then Braun Strowman's coming in. I don't know. Denise, your overall thoughts. Try to dissect what we saw there in that
So had they started this main event match at the top of the hour, I'm pretty sure that by the end of the night, we would have got into like 50-man tag, whatever you want to call it. I mean, every commercial break, it was just like, come back. I gave up, to be honest with you. I was like, all right. I was like, this doesn't mean anything anymore. We're just here to waste time now. This is all filler. And can I just say that I was a little disappointed to see Braun Strowman tonight. Not because I don't want to see Braun Strowman, but because I like the surprises at the Rumble. I would have preferred to just see him come out at the Rumble. Like, for me, it's more exciting that way, not necessarily in this throwaway SmackDown main event match.
Michael, your thoughts?
I agree with Denise in that part. I think getting Braun Strowman out today was completely unnecessary. The problem you have is that you did exactly the same on Raw with Edge. Then we are losing surprises, and the Royal Rumble, it's basically the same roster with one or two surprises. I mean, those could have been two incredible surprises, and suddenly you just ruined them. But regarding today's show, specifically the last segment, holy shit, the only thing that was missing was the holla holla playa. We're having ourselves a tag team match or a one-on-one against The Undertaker. But in this case, Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, then we're six-man tag with Morrison and Miz from Raw. Then add Sheamus from Raw. It's like there's a huge and incredible talented roster in SmackDown, and they're not using it at all. They're using the same people week after week, and that's cool, but there's a lot of people behind there that could have done the work. If they wanted to give people the Rumble vibes with the whole roster inside the ring at the same time, I didn't feel that at all. I felt like a weird mismatch Survivor Series match.
Yeah, it did feel more like a go home for Survivor Series. It definitely did. You know, the one and only night where Raw and SmackDown superstars will face off. I didn't know if you guys knew that, but that doesn't happen any other night out of the year. That only happens at Survivor Series.
And hold on, not only that, you know, we're talking about surprises being like sort of taken away. We also have the announcement of the number 30 spot with Tamina and Natalya battling for that spot in the Women's Rumble. And I'm thinking, what the heck?
We'll get there. Ozzy says that this means that Braun will win the Rumble match. Now, I'm not going to rule it out, but I wouldn't say that he's a favorite. I don't think this means anything. What I think they're trying to do is they're trying to build hype for the Royal Rumble, which you shouldn't have to do because it's the Royal Rumble. But this Royal Rumble is going to be different than any other one in the history because there aren't going to be live fans there. And that's where the having the surprises, having like Edge announcing he's going to be in the Royal Rumble on Monday. I totally get that because you're not going to top last year's moment, especially without a crowd being there. So go ahead and advertise him for the Royal Rumble. That's fine. I don't care. At least now I know, hey, we're getting Edge, and I'm excited to see Edge. Braun Strowman coming out tonight. Yeah, you could have done that at the Royal Rumble. I don't think that would have been, you could have saved that for the Royal Rumble. That we didn't need that tonight, but I'm not mad that they did it tonight either because it's not like I would have popped for Braun Strowman at the Rumble. You know what I'm saying?
I think like you pop for anybody that you just haven't seen for a while, even if it's for a second. That's the whole beauty of the Royal Rumble. You cheer for people that maybe you weren't all that crazy about, but just the utter excitement of you don't know who the heck is coming out. It's exciting either way. Like anybody can get a pop at that moment.
Yeah. If Aleister Black would have come out tonight, I would have been upset. Okay. Like that's somebody who shows up at the Rumble. I'm going to get excited for because we haven't seen him except for like one episode since he's been drafted over to SmackDown. If Seth Rollins had randomly shown up tonight, I think that's somebody I would have gotten upset for. But there are still people out there who could show up at the Royal Rumble and make a return and still get that virtual pop, shall we say. But I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of legends. Maybe Booker T, since we already know he's going to be there with, what is it, Bad Bunny?
Bad Bunny.
Denise, you're up to this. You're hip. You're with it.
Not really. I'm more in the pop music scene, to be honest with you on that one.
When are they going to get Taylor Swift at a...
I hate to break it to you, but Taylor Swift is on another level. She don't take just any booking, Rick. But Philip Shavin wants you in the Rumble.
Oh, well, I am training. Maybe I could get there one day.
See, I would pop for you if you came out in the Rumble. That would be pretty exciting, Rick.
And I would appreciate that. Maybe I can get there as like an announcer one day and I can pull the Coachman, or the Michael Cole. Remember that one time Michael Cole entered the Royal Rumble? That was great. That was a good time.
I don't like throwaway spots like that. I'm not crazy about
Cole,
them.
was it Law? There was like one time where like the entire commentary team got in. I can't remember if Cole got in there, but I hate when they throw the announcers in there. So of course I would absolutely do that one day if I ever had the opportunity to do it. But no, like, okay, so all the chaos aside, can we just all agree that when the focus was actually on the wrestling tonight for this whole second hour, it was all fantastic. Like Cesaro and Big E were crushing it before Miz and Morrison came out. Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles were putting on a clinic before Sami Zayn got involved. Like they threw a lot of hijinks in there, but the action in the ring was actually really good. And until things came completely off the rails, there's one thing that I did like is that they were using this main event segment, at least in that first half hour, to progress other storylines. You had Sami Zayn coming down there and holding up his protest signs, and then Big E came down and got in his face, and you had Cesaro at ringside selling this this tension maybe with Shinsuke Nakamura, and I like the subtle tease that we got between them tonight. That might be a feud that we get sooner rather than later. So there were a lot of nice, interesting things here if you stop and you look at it. But then again, I think it just completely got off the rails toward the end, and it was just way too much tonight. Way, way, way too much.
It was.
All right, so let's. You know what, Riju?
Rick versus Goldberg, bro.
You know what?
Riju.
There is a place in WWE for Bill Goldberg, and yeah, sure, I'd take that match. Let me wait until he's like 74, then I'll take on Goldberg. Yeah, absolutely no problem whatsoever. So let's go back up again, guys. Get in as many comments as you can tonight. Don't forget to engage with us.
I'm engaging in the comment section with people.
I know, I've seen that. I've noticed that. All of a sudden, I don't like the fact that that you have control of the chat tonight. Danny says he is so excited to see Daniel Bryan win the Royal Rumble. I'm really feeling it, guys. Maybe this is the D-Bry fan in me. Denise, I noticed you said on Twitter that all of a sudden you're sold on Daniel Bryan.
It wasn't that I was sold on Daniel Bryan. It was just more of the fact that he came out and he basically told us he's winning the Rumble today. Like it just felt like he was really. It just felt like a promo that you would do if you were winning the Rumble, if that makes any sense at all. I don't know, Michael, what did you think?
I think Daniel Bryan is a good candidate, but we shouldn't be forgetting about Cesaro and his winning streak lately and Nakamura's story. So Daniel Bryan is amazing. He is an amazing wrestler, and that promo today felt real, felt like he was trying to spoil the final result of Royal Rumble. I think he can do it. It will be a good option to face Roman Reigns in WrestleMania. But I think there are so many people this year that can win the Rumble. You have Big E on the other side. You have Nakamura. You have Cesaro. From Raw, you have many people. I mean, we can have a random entrant from Suplex City winning the Rumble. I mean, anything can happen this Sunday. But I think Daniel Bryan will be a great option.
I would have him as like the narrow favorite. But again, as you were talking about, Michael, the field is so wide open. Like I would not be surprised to see anybody win, including somebody who may not be advertised for the match yet. I think Goldberg is a possibility if he loses to Drew McIntyre earlier on in the night and then shows up to win that match and get the Roman Reigns Goldberg match. I could see that being a Vince booking all the way. So I'm not ruling anything out, but I do like the fact that there isn't that clear-cut winner, because I always find the Rumbles to be more exciting when that happens. I've been watching old Rumbles all week long. Like you go back all the way to the 2000 Royal Rumble. Everybody knew that was Big Show and Rock. Like that was going to be the final two. Those were the only two guys who could possibly even win. And when you look at the field, it was literally those guys and a bunch of dudes. Like the first 10 guys showed up and I'm like, these are all guys who never really did anything. I mean, I think Test was like the biggest success story out of like the first 12 entries in the 2000 Royal Rumble. Even the 2016 Rumble, as good as it was always going to come down to Roman Reigns and Triple H. And then they did a swerve in there at the end with Dean Ambrose. So, I mean, it was good, but it was still predictable. And I like the fact that this is like, feels like when Shinsuke Nakamura won it. Like literally, I have no clue who's going to win it. And I'm cool with that.
I like this from Gianmarco Credi. He says, I want AJ and Bryan with number 1 and 2. If you're going to spoil number 1 and 2 entrants, it might as well be with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan.
I would not argue with that. And you know what? I wouldn't mind if they ended up going all the way to to the end and being in the final four, I think. But we have seen that with Daniel Bryan before. But here's the thing. My counter to that is, if we're not doing Sami Zayn entering the Royal Rumble at number 1 to further progress this conspiracy theory storyline, what are we even doing at this point? Like, he has to be the guy. He has to be number 1, and Braun Strowman number 2, or somebody like that. But personally, I would love to see that, like, that CM Punk level thing with Sami Zayn, where he enters in and he's doing his protests in between a couple of guys, maybe like 2 or 3 lower level guys enter in. He gets a couple of quick eliminations. He's on the microphone. He's holding up his signs in the middle of the ring. And then Braun Strowman comes down and decimates him at number 5. If that's not what happens to start off the men's Royal Rumble, seriously, what are we even doing?
Right? I know. I don't know. See, I just feel like I want to see something. I don't necessarily think that when you don't have a clear cut of who's actually winning, I don't think that makes me more excited for the Rumble. I like to know that there's an actual possibility. Like, I like to know, okay, like these 2 guys, like they're going to be like the top options, right? But at the same time, I always like having that underdog person that has a good chance as well. So it is kind of like this Rumble, I'm a little bit nervous because I'm like, okay, I don't know who's going to win. We don't have a clear-cut definition of that. As much as I like Daniel Bryan, I don't think I would pop as hard as I did when Drew McIntyre won. And that was one of the things that I said in the prediction show earlier today. But it really is those things where I hope that it's somebody that I personally want to get excited about. I prefer somebody that can get skyrocketed into actually getting a good spot at WrestleMania and getting a good spot on the main roster.
You just kind of gave me men's Money in the Bank vibes. You remember when that match where it seemed like Mustafa Ali was going to win the Money in the Bank and then Brock Lesnar came down at the end? That's the kind of vibe you just gave me, where it's wide open so anybody could win it. And then number 30 comes down and it's going to be Brock Lesnar, or it's going to be Goldberg, or it's going to be somebody like that. And they're going to end up being the one that gets it. Somebody who's already won the Rumble once or twice. I wouldn't be stunned if John Cena is somebody who comes in and wins it, because reportedly his spot at WrestleMania is locked in this year. He's going to be in a match, so you know it's going to be a high profile match. But at the same time, it's completely unpredictable, and I am perfectly okay with that. Michael, what are your thoughts overall on the men's Rumble match and the unpredictability of it?
I believe, in fact, that in terms of booking and logic, how everything's been built off so far, a part-timer can win the Rumble. And that freaks me out, because there are so many talented people inside that roster, day in and day out, week after week, doing such an incredible job. I mean, you have people, our fellow Latinos, Angel Garza, Humberto Carrillo, Kalisto, Gran Metalik, who did a great match against AJ Styles, for example. There are so many talented people from many countries. And to give it to a part-timer, of course, it will make a lot of sense in terms of, money, what would generate to have a Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns compared to what it can be, an Angel Garza versus Roman Reigns. It wouldn't make sense at all. But in terms of, they are pointing to have people on WrestleMania 37 for the first time in over a year. So they need to make it as big as possible. And may as well be a part-timer. That's what I mentioned before. Brock Lesnar can be always the wild card to get everything at the end, because he already did it in 2003. So why not do it in 2021 if it still draws money? I wouldn't
be upset about having Brock Lesnar win either, because he's that person that I feel that people can get excited for. And I know that people wouldn't necessarily jump to that idea, but I don't necessarily think it's an awful one.
It would make sense, too, for them to rerun Brock Lesnar and Drew McIntyre again, I think, at WrestleMania 37. I think it would make a lot of sense for them to do that. Carney, JY3 says, if Goldberg entered the Rumble, would that not be his second match of the year on his contract? Therefore, he would not wrestle at WrestleMania. Here's the thing. I don't know if it's a per-match contract or a per-appearance contract. There's nothing that says that he can't work the Royal Rumble in WrestleMania and technically work 2 matches. And here's the thing. If Goldberg, let's say he does lose to Drew McIntyre, we know he's going to enter at number 30 in the Rumble and do it as little work as possible, right? He's going to come down there. There's going to be 4 dudes in the ring. 2 of them will get chucked out by somebody else. He might eliminate 1 person, and that's how they would do it. But I will say this, what they did tonight with the promos for WWE backstage makes me think that number 30 in the men's match is going to be somebody significant, because there was a lot of uproar this week, Mike, about backstage spoiling number 30. That's what they first advertised, is that they were going to introduce, I believe, 1 and 2 in the women's Rumble match, and then they were going to announce the 30th entrant in the men's Rumble match, and everybody lost their minds. Now all of a sudden they're announcing 1 and 2 in the men's match, and then Natalya and Tamina are going to wrestle for the 30 spot 30th. In the women's Rumble match. Your thoughts on all of that?
Well, I don't know what I mean in terms of gaining ratings and gaining viewership. It is a good move to spoil this result, since already backstage is returning for the first time in I don't know how many weeks or months. So
a while.
That's good, but I mean it kills the magic of the Rumble. I mean, I love the times where they were in the same day backstage in that lottery, rolling everything out until they got the ballots out, the balls. They open up, they see their numbers, and you see someone cheating on someone to get their number. That part was exciting, but you never knew who was going to enter first or 30th. For example, when Eddie Guerrero stole a number, you knew he screwed Ric Flair. When Rey got his number, you knew he got screwed up by Eddie's spirit, but they didn't tell you directly which was going to be the number, which for me, I don't know if it makes sense for you, still took its magic being part of it. Right now, if you do it that way, if you spoil it directly, saying, hey, Rick and Denise are going to be the number 1 and number 2 on Royal Rumble, then we know what to expect. And to me, it is supposed to be the most exciting part of the WWE season in general, because this is where everything starts to WrestleMania. And surprise is supposed to be a huge factor in this match, and knowing the first and second entrance, or even the 30th in the case of the women's Rumble, it kills a little bit of the magic. Because in my case, I would love to see Ronda Rousey back, and imagine seeing Ronda on number 30th, but now we have Natalya or Tamina Snuka, which to me makes no sense at all, because of the whole roster you have available. Why choose 2 of the wrestlers with the most defeat record in the whole last 365 days?
Hey, Natalya.
Agree.
Natalya has the most wins of anybody on the roster. Hashtag boat. Sorry, go ahead, Denise.
No, but I actually agree with Michael. It's not even, I don't even know if it's not even the wins thing. It's more of like, if this is the, okay, for example, if you're saying to me, okay, they want to get the ratings up for backstage, they want to, get people to maybe convince people that weren't planning on buying the Royal Rumble to get the Royal Rumble. Okay, so I hate to say it, but why do you put Natalya and Tamina in this match when in that case you would do the total opposite? Who are the most talked about people? Okay, you could put Bayley and Bianca. All right, one of those girls is going to get the top 30 spot. That to me would make more sense but let's try to boost the ratings up and getting people that are necessarily at that popularity level. And that's not taking anything away from Natalya and Tamina, but it's just different levels. And so obviously people were upset because it's not something where, I don't think any 3 of us here are like, oh my God, it better be Tamina because, oh my God, she should be number 30 and we want to see her win. That's not the case. You want to have the excitement because that's part of the Royal Rumble, which Michael nailed perfectly already by saying that is part of the magic. That is part of the mystique. And again, it's just, you want to be hyped about the person that's coming out. So had this been something different, like I said, Bayley or Bianca or whoever, it would have been more impactful. And I don't think people would have necessarily had such negative opinions about this announcement had it been, because it's such a coveted spot. If it's it's a coveted spot, so why don't you put the people that are considered the top superstars in that spot? It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, it just feels very random. And moreover, aren't these 2 supposed to be a team? Like they've been tag teaming.
Oh, yeah, right.
The last 3 weeks. Just last week, when it was the Riot Squad face. Who'd they lose to last week? Because Billy Kay got involved. Whatever. There was a tag team match. It was against Charlotte and Asuka. When they lost to Charlotte and Asuka last week, Tamina and Natalya were watching backstage like they were scouting for a tag team title opportunity at some point, or scouting the Riot Squad or something. Now all of a sudden they're facing off for number 30. It just seems very random. And this is not a knock on any of them, but I don't think any like you said, Denise, I don't think anybody's going to tune in to WWE backstage because that match is happening. Now, if it was something really interesting, like if it was Liv Morgan versus Billie Kay, that might be something to where it would get me to draw in, because that would continue that storyline between Billie Kay and the Riot Squad when none of those ladies were on the show tonight. That would get me. It doesn't necessarily have to be something as big as Bianca and Bayley, although they can run that back anytime they want, because that match was great tonight, and we'll get there. But yeah, this just
or even like, okay, for example, everybody's hot on tournaments. All right, even doing like for tonight on SmackDown, instead of having that, that long extended tag team match, it could have been like, all right, let's do these, I don't know, 6 women that have already been announced. All right, the last 2 get to fight at backstage, and then they earn the number 30 spot. Even that to me would feel more put together than just as a throwaway like this.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, what this tells me is like the number 30 spot is going to be pretty much meaningless in the women's Royal Rumble, because again, no offense to Natalya or Tamina, neither one of those ladies is winning the Royal Rumble. The women's match is more open, I think, than the men's match is. Like, I genuinely have no clue. I could sit here and say, oh, well, obviously Bianca Belair is going to win, but do I really know that? Because WWE hasn't pushed anybody outside the same 5 women to the top in the last 2 years. And you look at the first 3 winners. It was Asuka, it was Becky, it was Charlotte. It was already somebody who has been in that upper echelon. They haven't used the Royal Rumble match yet to elevate somebody in the women's division. So it's like, yeah, I could say it's going to be Bianca, but will they actually pull the trigger, or would they more likely give it to somebody like Bayley or have Charlotte win it for a second time in a row? So I can't sit here and say, yeah, it's going to be somebody, but I can pretty much tell you who it's not going to be if you pick them out of a lineup. And Italian Tamina, they're not. If Tamina wins the Royal Rumble, okay, I will eat this poster behind me. All right, I will literally come in here on Smack Talk next week and I will eat that with some hot sauce if Tamina wins the Royal Rumble. Okay.
I'm not eating anything. That's a bold statement, man. Now watch. Someone's going to watch this and be like, that's it. We're having Tamina win. We're having Rick's going to eat his poster with hot sauce. It is not.
No. That is not a bold statement. When's the last time Tamina won anything? No offense. I feel like
24/7 championship. Does that count?
No, it doesn't. And by the way, guys,
who won that karaoke segment? Wasn't she in that?
I thought Naomi won that.
Oh, I don't remember.
Naomi won the karaoke.
Oh, yeah, because her husband was the one as the judge. Yeah, Naomi won.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But Tamina was in it, though, wasn't she?
She was there?
Yeah.
She was there. Okay, I don't remember. I don't know why this came up into my mind. All right,
The only thing I remember from that segment was that's what they used to turn Lacey Evans heel. Remember that? Like, that was the big moment, because they were building Lacey as this big baby face, like the former Marine, the mom, somebody you could really root for. And then she lost the karaoke contest and decided to turn heel. And now she's, clout chasing Ric Flair over on Raw. So, I mean, how the mighty have fallen there. Switch over here says only if Ember Moon could win the Royal Rumble. There's nothing that says Ember Moon couldn't win the Royal Rumble. I mean, that I would consider her a great choice. This is somebody who got almost the Bianca Belair treatment when she first came up, was somebody with a lot of talent and a lot of hype, and then all of a sudden they just never used her, and then she was thrown into the 24/7 picture for like 8 seconds, and then she tore her Achilles running after the damn belt, and that completely ruined anything. There was no reason for her to do that. They completely misused her. So I think a good showing in the Royal Rumble could definitely put Ember Moon back on top, because also remember, Denise, it's not always about who wins the match, because you have had people in matches, Kane, AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Bianca Belair, Shayna Baszler, who were the stars of Rumble matches that they didn't win. So it's not always about who wins these matches.
Right, exactly. They can have a really good showcase, come out looking good. I think Keith Lee had a good moment, actually, last year's Royal Rumble.
Oh, Brock put him over big time.
Yeah, and I remember that was something that people talked about a lot.
Yeah, and it wasn't even so much what Keith Lee did in the ring. It was how Brock Lesnar acknowledged him. Because Brock Lesnar was just chucking dudes left and right like he didn't give a crap, or he had no respect for them whatsoever. All of a sudden, Keith Lee comes down to the ring, and what does Brock do? He's like, oh, who's this MFer? You know, big guy. All right, let's go, dude. And this is somebody who's on my level. And that's what Brock Lesnar can do with just those. That's what makes Brock Lesnar good, right? Is like, he is this attraction. He is this star. He looks like this unstoppable monster. But when he wants to, he can make somebody look really good just by doing that, Mike.
Recalling what you were saying about the Women's Royal Rumble, more than Bianca Belair, I think Lacey Evans is the one that deserves that spot. I mean, she's been there, as I mentioned before, day in, day out. She's working phenomenally. Incredibly as a heel. Everyone hates her. The Mama Flair thing. I mean, I love that. I mean, it's kind of cringy, but it's working completely. Having her and Charlotte Flair entering respectively 1 and 2, that will be something I will be after. I mean, if they do it, or at least in the final 2. But Lacey Evans has been there for a while now. Bianca is also a great talent, but I think they should bet everything they have on Lacey Evans. She's money. She can be that face they're looking for in the female division so far.
Danny brings up an interesting point. Remember when Tamina put out that like straight jacket, crazy hair video on Instagram or whatever, and it was out there for like 45 minutes and then it was deleted and then they never went back to it?
I never saw that. I didn't see it. So.
It was
I did, unfortunately. Why did that happen?
I don't know. I don't know. She released it on her own, I think. Like, this was like, hey, here's this character I'm looking at. I have no idea what it was, but I'll tell you what it made me. It made me interested in Tamina for about 45 seconds, and then it was gone, and we never heard from it again. And I'm like, okay, that could have been something, but no, I don't know. They decided not to go with that. Switch says, what if Lana returns at number 30 and wins the Royal Rumble as part of this push they were meant to give her? Again, they're already saying it's going to be number 30 between, and but here's the thing, they've done this before, and that's one of the things, like, we're talking about spoiling the number 30. It's not like it's unprecedented that we haven't known who number 30 is going to be. When Goldberg was in it in 2003, we knew he was going to be number 30, and then Brock Lesnar came down, and even though he wasn't in the match, and eliminated him, and that set up their match at WrestleMania 30, in 2003, whichever WrestleMania that was. But also, R-Truth was supposed to be number 30 in the Royal Rumble a couple years back after he and Carmella won the Mixed Match Challenge. That was the reward for winning the Mixed Match Challenge, was you guys got the number 30 entrance. And then what happened? R-Truth was attacked and taken out by Nia Jax, and Nia Jax ended up being the number 30 entrance. So this could be a completely different swerve. This could be something where WWE's like, okay, yeah, it's going to be Natalya or Tamina, but maybe they got something else up their sleeve. Who knows, Denise? It's WWE, right?
Well, it gives me hope. So thank you so much, Rick, for giving me hope. At least that I can live with that.
That's what I do. That's what I give hope to people. And by the way, I'm also really glad, by the way, that they decided not to spoil the men's number 30, because it gives me my dream scenario. Can I lay out my dream scenario for you guys? And Rob Ross has actually put this same thing out there a couple of times. I don't know if he follows me on Twitter or not, but Rob, I see you, buddy, and I know what you're talking about.
Does it involve Goldberg? If yes, I'm interested.
No, it does not. I said a dream scenario, not a nightmare.
Is it Lars Sullivan?
Again, I said dream scenario.
That's the dream.
We don't know what kind of dreams you have, Rick. How are we, the people? How are Michael and I supposed to know what kind of dreams Rick Ucchino has?
I don't know. Denise, we've been doing this a while. I figured you would know me a little bit. At least I've known Mike for all of 5 minutes. So I would think you could guess, what better than what Mike could.
But, is it Psycho said?
Is it what?
Is it Psycho said? Is it
no?
said?
No, it is not. Okay, so let's just imagine here that we are
pause this. Joseph Boza says, Denise is right. Rick's dream would scare me, LMAO. You see, Rick? You see?
Expect the unexpected, Rick.
Danny thinks I want Nakamura. I wouldn't be mad at Nakamura, but no.
Again?
I wouldn't be mad at it. Hey, if it propels him to the main event scene and he actually wins this time.
You're too nice. You want everybody to get a chance. Here's the thing. I think that it has to be somebody special to win the Rumble, not just anybody.
Yes, Denise, you nailed it. Somebody special.
All right, who is it?
Imagine, shall we say, that there's let's say 5 guys in the ring at the end of the match. Hold
on. Rob Ross says, Denise, let Rick speak for God's sake. Rick has been speaking.
You guys keep interrupting me, just like now. Jeez, Rob, thank you. Rob is our fan of the day. Anyway, so let's just say there's 5 people in the ring at the end of the match. We're on number 29. 29's already entered. So we got 5 guys left in the ring. Maybe Seth Rollins, maybe Randy Orton, maybe Braun Strowman. I forget who my other guy was. Daniel Bryan. All right, so we got a few guys in the ring there. All of a sudden, number 30 ticks down. The lights go out. Randy Orton's also in the ring, by the way. He's the 5th guy. The lights go out. They come back on, and the Fiend Bray Wyatt is standing in the middle of the ring, and he chucks everybody out of the ring and last to eliminate Randy Orton to win the Royal Rumble, to go on to challenge, frankly, if Goldberg wins against Drew McIntyre, that could set up perfectly there because we all know the Fiend owes Goldberg one. Or we can do some other good long-term booking here and have Bray Wyatt now set up to go up against Roman Reigns, who is another person who stole that Universal Championship from him. And those two could fight at WrestleMania. That would be my dream scenario. Lights go out. Fiend is there. He takes out all the 5 guys that have been put over him in the past and then last eliminates Randy Orton to close out their feud and win the Royal Rumble. That is my dream scenario. It's not going to happen in a million years, but that's my dream scenario. Would you hate that ending, Denise?
We have different dreams, Rick. That's not my dream scenario whatsoever. I'm actually curious to hear Michael's dream scenario. If you had a dream scenario, do you have something? Because I can see the Fiend being, especially when they said that they're planning a ending that's going to scare the people. The Fiend is somebody that obviously that would be with, but I wouldn't necessarily say that'd be like the it thing I'd want to see.
But does the Finn really need a win in the Royal Rumble? I mean, he's already been champion before, and to me, he doesn't have the credibility at this moment to win it. He's been buried so many times, year after year after years, as Bray Wyatt, as the Eater of Worlds. Then the Finn got buried by Goldberg, and so on and so on. So
we pretend like that match didn't happen, Mike. Without that match didn't happen.
So if it depends on me, I will have the last 4, well, not the last 4, the last 5. I will have Keith Lee, I will have Riddle, I will have Cesaro, and I will have Braun Strowman because, the power and stuff. And I will have Brock Lesnar coming in number 30, beating the crap out of the 4 of them at the same time, eliminating them, going after Drew McIntyre, and, taking the title home, and we will never see it in 10 months again because that's what we deserve.
I like that. It's like part happiness and part not happiness because the bout would be gone for 10 months.
That's Vince McMahon's booking. That's what we've seen before, and I don't doubt it at this moment. I'm really, really rooting for Lesnar to win this because we need a main event in WrestleMania with credibility. And to me, the perfect option would be Keith Lee for many, many reasons.
I wouldn't be mad at Keith Lee.
But in terms of money, Keith Lee wouldn't draw the quantity of money that, when ex-UFC World Heavyweight Championship drew at his point in the other, in the other side of the fence. And he's been there before. He's done this before. And if he's coming back, my dream scenario, perfect. Drew McIntyre, he has his story with him. But Paul Heyman is in Roman Reigns' corner this time. So I will definitely love to see Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman and see that old ass kicker Brock Lesnar we had before he had Heyman as his mic piss.
Yeah, and that is what would make Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar interesting again, because I've seen that match enough times. I don't ever need to see it again. But the fact that Paul Heyman is now with Roman Reigns, and you got like Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar fighting over Paul Heyman, I think that would make an interesting dynamic. And Shao Kahn up here, by the way, bringing up a name that none of us have mentioned yet, and I think is an absolute contender. Edge could very easily win the Royal Rumble this year. Hands down.
Somebody talked about a lot lately, especially because of that promo that he cut on Raw. I think a lot of people feel very confident that he could be one of the winners.
Yeah, and I loved his promo on Monday because, look, that would be what Edge would do. Like, Edge was all about, like, it was almost Tommaso Ciampa-esque. Like, he was obsessed with having that world championship. I mean, he won 11 of them. This was a guy who was all about winning world titles at the end of his career, and he had his career stolen from him, but yes, he also had his championship stolen away from him. And I think it makes a lot of sense for him to come back now 10 years later and go, you know what? I'm in the best freaking shape of my life at 46 or 47, however old he is now. Yeah, I want that championship that I never lost. And I wouldn't be mad at it. I think of all the options of double winners, of like guys who have won it before, I think Edge would be the one that I would be most okay with. Mike, what do you think about Edge winning the Rumble again?
It is a possibility. As Denise mentioned, after that promo, he made it pretty clear that at least the direction WWE is trying us to look towards, it's either Daniel Bryan because of today's promo, or Edge. That will be like the two totally logical options. But if Edge wins, the only sense I find in the situation is for Goldberg to defeat Drew McIntyre, miss cash in, then Orton takes the title, and then you can pair them together at Mania. But if you don't do it that way, the other option will be Edge and Reigns, and I wouldn't be that interested in that match because he still has business with Orton.
I would be. Here's the thing. I don't think we need to go do Edge and Orton 3. I don't think we need to do it. Like,
we do need it. I need it.
No, we can end it at the Rumble. All right, we can end it at the Rumble. They can have another stare down. You know what? Whatever. If it's Orton who eliminates Edge or vice versa, that's fine. We can end it there. We don't. Edge only has so many matches left. I don't need to waste another one on Randy Orton. I'm sorry. I just don't. If they were gonna if they could have done it at SummerSlam or whatever last year, fine. But unfortunately, Edge got hurt. They couldn't do it. Let's move on. Let's do other things. I'll tell you what, that's a spear versus spear matchup I would rather see. Edge versus Roman Reigns as opposed to Roman Reigns and Goldberg, for crying out loud.
I would like to see Edge Drew McIntyre. I think that's where, if I had any interest, that's where the interest would be for me. I think that Drew McIntyre and Edge would be really good.
Who are you turning heel in that situation? I mean, Edge was a great heel.
Probably Edge. Why not?
He was a great heel, but I don't know. It seems like everybody's so happy that Edge is back. It would be really hard to make him a heel again. Like, it's one of those situations where it's like, we're not gonna cheer against him. Like, we're not gonna cheer against Edge. Like, it would have to be something really egregious for me to go, yeah, okay, I'm gonna boo Edge after everything he's been through over the last 10 years. I think it would be really hard to turn him heel, even though he's one of the best heels of all time.
But I also think he'd be a great challenger for Drew McIntyre because there's only so many guys right now. We know that they haven't necessarily been building up, multiple people to take that spot. So that spot is open for grabs. We need some challengers for Drew McIntyre. And I think that Edge would be a good one.
I don't know what I said, Dale, but cool.
Rick, why do you only put the comments up of people that agree with you? This is what I want to know.
All right, well, hang on. There was somebody.
I'm looking at the comments here, and the only people that get attention are the people that say nice things about you.
Well, here's the thing, Denise. Somebody actually has to say something bad about me before I could put it up there. Here you go.
I'm about to log into the Sportskeeda account and start talking smack.
Sorry, I actually thought Reagan was talking some crap about me there. Sorry. Somebody. Here we go. Danny earlier said, Rick, no. Rick, no.
Thank you. Give Danny some attention. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I don't know. See,
you have one fan, and it's Rob Ross, who apparently has it out for me. You know what, Rob? Suck it, Rob. Suck it. Thank you, fifth generation Carney JY3, who says he disagrees with Rick. I appreciate that.
Oh, okay. Dale elaborates. He said when we don't need Orton and you guys are moving stuff around.
We're fighting enough for the comments. I wanted to give Michael some love too. Thank you so much to Luis Danielle for coming down and giving some love to Michael.
Thank you, Luis.
This entire show, again, much like SmackDown, is just completely off the rails. We have spent a lot of time focusing on the last hour of the show and a lot of time on the Royal Rumble. Guys, keep getting your comments in. Danny says he won. Oh, wrong one. Sorry.
Wait, wrong one. Go back to that one. Thank you. You see what I mean, Michael? Michael is a non-biased party in this, and he sees where I'm at here. Thank you. Shout out for Michael.
I'm just reading the nice.
Hold on.
I'm just reading the nice instead of the nice.
Yeah, it says
is it really you?
I'm amazing in all forms of which you spell my name.
I think you're in denial. Danny said he wanted Edge versus Daniel Bryan. I wouldn't be mad at that either. See, there's a lot of options for Edge that I would love to see him face. Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan, Shinsuke Nakamura, Sami Zayn. There's a lot of guys I'd love to see Edge fight. So again, we don't need Randy Orton 3 because Edge is on a very limited match per year contract. Not as limited as Goldberg. I don't want to see him waste one of his 6 matches a year or whatever it is on Randy Orton. And yes, as Switch brings up, Edge versus AJ Styles absolutely needs to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
At some point. That is that's the one for sure. So let's talk about Bianca Belair and Bayley, kind of get into the women's Royal Rumble matchup, because I believe if there are 2 favorites in the women's Royal Rumble match outside of Charlotte, who is always a threat when she's in any kind of main event situation, Bianca Belair and Bayley are right there. I would not be stunned if these are the final 2 in the Rumble match, or the 2 to start off, to be completely honest with you. But if these were the final 2 squaring off again, I think that would be a great way to cap off this rivalry. This was a big win for Bianca Belair tonight. I love this match. I love the booking, her overcoming the injury in it, and then her promo afterwards. Just tugging at the heartstrings there. Like, it was so real. It was either real off the cuff or it was really good acting. Either way, I was all in on Bianca Belair tonight. I don't know how you just can't fall in love with this girl. Denise, your reaction to what we saw from Bayley and Bianca tonight?
So I actually feel that because Bianca got this win today, I think that she might not be winning the Rumble, and she was one of my picks. But after her getting this win tonight, instead of thinking, okay, they're building some hype up for her to win, I kind of have a feeling that this was kind of the, hey, we gave her a win and she's not winning the Rumble. And I don't know if that's necessarily the case. It kind of just felt that way tonight, though, because a lot of people, that has been their pick. Bianca Belair has been one of the most talked about names. So now I'm wondering if her win tonight was just highlighting the fact that she might not win, foreshadowing the fact that she might not be winning the Rumble. So I was very happy, though, that she actually got a win against Bayley, and I hope that they do circle back on that.
Mike, your thoughts?
I think Bianca is an amazing athlete, but man, you gotta give credit to Bayley. After she lost her title belt, she wasn't afraid to push and give a little credibility to Peyton Royce in that Survivor Series match, and now she's doing exactly the same for Bianca Belair. She works perfectly on any role, with the title belt or without the title belt.
Yes.
Bianca is amazing, but I agree with Denise on this one. If Bianca was going to win the Rumble, they would have done something different today. They are just creating a distraction with Bianca for us to fall inside that dreamy pathway where everything's beautiful and pink at the end of the day, and Swifty, as Denise will say. But I don't think she's winning. I don't think it's not the correct moment. I don't think it's the moment for it. Between those 2, I would prefer if they go with Bayley. But yeah, they did a great match today in SmackDown, the best one of the whole 2-hour show, which 40 minutes was Teddy Long we're booking without Teddy being there. But yeah, I love the match.
Zane Miller says Bianca and Sasha could be slipping through our fingers, and that makes me sad. And that's what WWE has to pick between if these are your 2 favorites. So if they come down to it, which would Vince more likely put at WrestleMania? Would he put Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, or would he do Bayley and Sasha Banks again? And I think he would go with Bayley, to be completely honest with you. But the match I want to see is Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, because I want to see other people get elevated up again. Yeah, I feel like I'm on a crusade for these last few weeks, bringing up the fact that the same 5 women have been at the top of the card for the last 2 years, but it has been the case, and it's nothing against those 5 women, but I want to see somebody. Eventually, you have to put somebody else on that same platform. And I think the moment is right for Bianca Belair. I think she is starting to build that momentum. She just got this big win. Sasha needs another big opponent, and Sasha and Bayley, that was a great thing, but it was in 2020. I'm ready to move forward with that. Here's the thing, though. I don't think WWE knows who's winning the women's match yet. I honestly don't think they've made up their mind yet. And I think tonight is just kind of giving them options. I think they wanted to see how people would react to Bianca Belair and how she performed tonight and her promo. And maybe that might sway them in one way or another. The men's match is reportedly finished. Reportedly, that came out today. I don't know who said it. I wish I could give proper credit, but I did read that.
I believe it was Ringside News.
Maybe, I'm not sure. But somebody said that the men's match has been finalized and they know who Roman Reigns is facing at WrestleMania, but everything else is like up in the air as we head into Mania. So maybe they don't know, Denise, who's going to win the women's matchup yet.
So I actually want to say that I wouldn't mind seeing Sasha versus Bayley, because I do think that they have something that for a long time, that's what we thought was going to be the WrestleMania match. Heck, at one point, I thought it was going to be the WrestleMania main event. And I do feel that if they wanted to, they could circle back to that to kind of give that feud, that storyline, its WrestleMania moment. And I think that given the match that they had at Hell in a Cell, I just feel like you can't discredit the kind of level that they can go at. And even though I completely agree with you on the Bianca Belair situation, because I would love that match as well, I do think that if they were to pull the trigger on Bayley Sasha for this year, I do think it would be the right call, because if not, I don't want to see Sasha versus Carmella at WrestleMania. That's to me doesn't feel like the WrestleMania main event. For me, it would feel more like, if you're not going to do, I just don't think they're going to necessarily go with Sasha Bianca just yet. So I would like to see Sasha versus Bayley.
Jake Larson says, give me Rhea Ripley winning. I know, Denise, that's somebody you've talked about before that you want to see win this.
That's my pick, man. That's my pick. Still my pick.
Rhea versus Charlotte after she turns on Asuka and wins the belt before WrestleMania. Again, that is something I know a lot of people have brought up, and how that would be great, full circle booking is to have Rhea get that one up on Charlotte and take the Raw Women's Championship away from her. And at this point, I wouldn't be mad at it, just because, God, I would hate to feed Asuka again to Charlotte, but they have literally done nothing with Asuka as the Raw Women's Champion for months now. It's not fair to Asuka, but if you're not going to do anything with her, you got to take the belt off of her, and you got to do it at Elimination Chamber. Are they doing Elimination Chamber this year? I know they're doing fast lanes. Whatever you got to do to make Asuka look good in losing the championship. But if you're going to do it, you got to do it sooner rather than later, because the fact that the Raw Women's Championship is not being defended at the Royal Rumble, it was defended on Raw. It's just not a good look. It's like they just don't care about the Raw Women's Championship with it around Asuka's waist right now, Mike.
Bayley versus Sasha Banks is our modern version of Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio. It works. It draws money. People are interested and invested in the rivalry. It's been built for years. And I think the correct moment to put that final dot on it, it'll have to be WrestleMania. If you want to move forward from this rivalry and finally end it, so you can have Sasha get her opponent or Bayley, whichever wins the title, it needs to be at WrestleMania. That's the correct moment to do it. And to me, I completely understand your point, Rick, about the same 5 women have been around the main event scene for the last years, but it is because it works. It is because it draws money, it draws attention, and people from multiple places come to see this incredible 5 women wrestle. There are more talent in the roster. Completely agree with you in that, but you're talking about WrestleMania, man. The first WrestleMania with crowd in over a year. It needs to be as big as it can.
Yeah. I think if you're going to do Sasha Bayley one more time, it has to be now, because I don't know if it's ever going to get to the point where, people are going to care as much as it is right now after the year that they've had. So, you give these two a little bit of a break from one another. Sasha's going to have to defend the championship a couple more times before WrestleMania, so that can give her a chance to go up against some other people and go over. I think if you do it right, Bayley and Sasha Banks, that is a night 2 main event match if you do it right. Of course. It all depends on if they do it right, though, and if they decide to go that direction. But I think if you're going to do it, if it's going to be Bayley, if Bayley and Sasha Banks are ever going to have that one-on-one match at WrestleMania, I think it should be this year. Somebody brought it up earlier. Any possibility of Ronda Rousey returning to win the Royal Rumble?
Let's hope so.
Maybe, possibly. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think without fans there. And that's the other thing. Without fans, I'm not expecting any of these big legends returns other than maybe Booker T again, because we already know he's going to be there. I'm not expecting any. That would be the only thing that I think would keep guys like Brock Lesnar away, keep people like Ronda Rousey, if they decide to come back, away, is because they don't want to spoil their returns on a show without fans. Denise, you get that same vibe?
Yeah, but I also feel like right now the fact is they need to have as much, just as much hype for the product. And I don't like necessarily having to save things just because we're in a pandemic or just because we have no audience, because that's what's getting people to not tune into Raw, not for more people to tune into SmackDown. It's the fact that it kind of feels like, well, they're not going to put their very best out there because we all know that we're in a pandemic and there's no crowd and there's a Thunderdome, whatever the reason may be. And I feel like they need to eliminate that. And I know it sucks, and I know a lot of people aren't going to be coming in because of the fact that there's no real audience there, but I do think there needs to be something, especially at the Rumble, that still keeps that prestige of what event it is, even if we're in a pandemic and it feels like they're saving everything.
Switch says no Carlito. I would pop for Carlito. All right, if they were able to bring Carlito back for even if it's like he's in there and he gets tossed by Keith Lee in 10 seconds, I would just be happy to hear his music as we trot down one more time. And I've seen multiple people bring her up. Luis is like the 5th or 6th person to bring this up. He said, what if Becky Lynch comes back? I would be stunned. I would be absolutely shocked, because that would be about 8 weeks after giving birth, and that would be incredibly difficult. And if she was able to do anything, it wouldn't be very much, and she would not be, there would be no way. I know she's a tremendous athlete. I know she's in great shape. I doubt she would be ring ready yet. And I don't think they would waste her return on a show without fans in a match that she wouldn't be able to compete in very long or do a whole lot. Not saying she won't be on the show. Maybe she pulls the Ronda Rousey and comes down after the match is over and points at the WrestleMania sign. Something like that. Great. I would be stunned if we see Becky Lynch take a bump 8 weeks after giving birth. And who says she even wants to come back this early? I mean, maybe she just wants to spend time with her baby. Who knows?
She could be a great moment for her too. If it's not at the Rumble, and let's say she just misses this entire Mania season, she could be that Raw after Mania person,
Yes.
The return, that could be it. Like you said, I mean, I don't know the logistics of how long it takes for, somebody after they've given birth to come back or be in physical tip-top shape, whatever. So I think that would also be a good moment for her. Like, I feel like they don't have to rush it with Becky Lynch. That's the thing about Becky.
Exactly.
You don't have to rush her.
Right. And I think I read Seth Rollins did an interview with People, and he said, I know she's chomping at the bit to come back. So, we know she's going to want to come back quick. But again, yeah, Denise, like you said, you don't want to rush it. And just to put things in perspective, like my wife gave birth 6 weeks ago. She was just cleared to exercise. Wow. So you're talking 2 weeks now for Becky to get ready for the Royal Rumble. Every woman's different. We don't know the circumstances surrounding the delivery and everything like that. I'm not even going to begin to speculate on that. That's why I'm just saying, if you're expecting Becky Lynch, I think don't expect it. And if she shows up, I would be absolutely stunned. We've already hit about an hour, and we haven't even talked about Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. So we're going to go a little over tonight. I hope the bosses don't care. Just a little bit.
Rick, I get paid for an hour, man. I only get paid for an hour.
All right. Well, Denise, what did you think about the war of words between Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns tonight?
Dude, I thought Roman Reigns was completely savage like he usually is. And I think that they've done a really great job of furthering this feud, getting us excited for this Royal Rumble match. And I thought that all the lines today, specifically when Roman Reigns was talking about Kevin Owens' grandfather and his father, I thought all of that was fantastic, and I really like the direction they're going in. And besides the actual men's and women's Rumble, I do think that this will be match of the night at the Royal Rumble.
Michael, what are your thoughts?
First of all, to the guy who asked for Carlito, he's currently booked for an event in Puerto Rico on the 31st. It's supposed to be it's supposed to be a live pay-per-view for his father's company, WWC. But so far, they haven't advertised anything yet. No link, no anything. So it's still a possibility for Sunday. The other thing is, I know we're on SmackDown, but Jon Moxley attacked Kenta a few minutes ago in New Japan Strong. So it's always good to say it. Regarding Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns, man, these guys, both of them they're so talented in the microphone. Yeah. They have so much intensity in delivering their words and everything. But damn it, Roman Reigns turning off his Zoom camera. It's like, I don't give a crap what you're saying. I'm going to beat you up on Sunday. I'm going to be the best man. I'm going to be the last man standing. I don't give a crap of what you're saying. And he just turned off the camera. Owens was so, you could see the fire in his eyes. You could see him inspired. And Roman Reigns just turning off the camera. That was just savage, man.
That was the moment for me, is like when Kevin Owens is like losing his freaking mind and he's going from 0 to 60 like only KO can, and Roman's just sitting there like, all right, I've had enough. Click. I'll see you on Sunday. I loved it. I think it is really hard to make these separate room video interactions like really, really good. And it's like these two just made it effortless tonight. Like everything they've done with this has just been effortless. I do have one question surrounding this, because ever since he lost the match a few weeks ago, Jey Uso has been completely gone from the scene. And then he was declared for the Royal Rumble match. And then tonight we were shown the graphic of all the guys who were in there, and he wasn't on it. So it makes me wonder what's going on with Jey Uso as we head into the Royal Rumble. I think that's going to be one of the things that I really look at. And again, there were a couple other really nice things that happened tonight. In particular, I love Big E trying to bribe Sonya Deville with a $1 bill and an Arby's coupon to find out where he was going to be in the Royal Rumble. That dude's great. I hope he never changes. But there was just a lot of chaos tonight. There was a lot to like. It completely went off the rails. Overall, I'd say I'd give this a 5 out of 10, just because it's a go-home show. I was expecting a little bit more, and the Braun Strowman return just didn't really sell it for me. Mike, we really appreciated having you. Thank you. Where can people find your stuff? And you talked to Charlotte recently, didn't you? You got something to promote there with her?
Yeah, I spoke to Charlotte, Daniel Bryan, The Ascension, a few of them. You can find it in Lucha Libre Online, either on YouTube or Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or on our website, luchalibre.online. It's all over there. Thank you, Rick, and thank you to Denise for your time, and really glad to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate having you. It's been fun. It's been a train wreck, just like SmackDown was. But you know what? We're all about having a good time, Denise. Speaking of good time, we had dueling interviews this week. Was
it dueling though? Was it dueling?
We both talked to Peyton Royce, and here's the beautiful thing, by the way, is I watched yours. And you asked, maybe we both had like 15 minutes with her, and I think we asked like one mutual question. We had completely different questions. So you can find my interview with Peyton Royce up on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel or on our Facebook watch. And then you can go to Instinct Culture's YouTube channel and watch Denise's, and you can get a complete half hour of pretty much completely different Peyton Royce questions, because that's how awesome and in sync Denise and I are. We didn't plan that out, by the way. She didn't even know that I talked to Peyton Royce until what? Right after you finished?
Yeah.
He hung up with me and called you. Like, I think that's how that ended up going.
Yeah, it was after you.
But I had a lot of fun talking to Peyton this week. She's such a sweetheart, and I hope she gets a really good spot in the Rumble this weekend. I really do. All right, well, check out all that stuff, guys. Oh, by the way, I also talked to Santos Escobar, the NXT Cruiserweight Champion. That interview is also up on the Sportskeeda Wrestling YouTube channel as well. We appreciated all the comments. Oh, look at that. Ozzy says that I did an awesome job with Peyton. So thank you. Thank you very much for that, Ozzy. Just had to get one more dig in there, Denise. You know how I roll.
It's okay. I'll go compare views later on, Rick.
Check out Facebook, by the way. That Peyton Royce interview is the highest watched one I've had.
Rick. I you know what? I'm going to give you this one because I don't have a multi-million-dollar company backing me. My channel is funded by me, Denise Salcedo, and we're competing.
And you do a
I do
fantastic
not have $1 million company behind me.
You do a fantastic job, and everybody seriously should follow Denise's YouTube channel. If you haven't already on Instant Culture, go do it. She does great work, and I give her a hard time, but she really is the best, and she absolutely carries this show, and I will ride her coattails as long as I possibly can. Denise and I will be back next week, and we will talk some Royal Rumble. So enjoy the weekend, everybody. Enjoy the Royal Rumble. It's my favorite event of the year, so I'm going to be excited whether or not there's a lot of hype involved with it or not. So everybody have a great weekend. It's been fun, guys, and we will talk to you.